Greetings, Prince Yababa. Greetings, everybody, so far. We're going to get it on and popping once we get a few more people in here. Thanks for joining. If anybody's in the other room, somebody let them know we're over here. I still haven't found a way to connect from that room and how to actually work it. I'm not that tech savvy. I know some stuff, but so I just use the webcam option on YouTube. This is why I never show up on the page that's scheduled. So just let people know I'm over here in this room so we can go and get started. Yeah, it's a topic that I was asked to do. I said, sure, let's get it on and popping because it's not really discussed quite often. So I feel would benefit a lot of people. Now, whether people show up or not, well, that's up to them. Just waiting for a few more people and then I'll get it rolling. Yeah, people are always slow. All right, there we go. Let's get it popping. I choose to be happy. The fluffy one is in the house. Now we can get it on and popping, y'all. People will eventually show up like they always do late, but we know how we do. Melanated time. All right. First of all, before we get more in depth into the dating part, we first have to understand the concept of the left-hand path and dating while on the left-hand path or in the occult or things like that. Specifically the left-hand path, because that's what myself and a lot of people who subscribe to the page tend to be about. Let's go over that aspect first. There's two main parts to the left-hand path, or two major aspects of the left-hand path. I've gone over this before, but I'm going over this briefly to segue into the relationship and dating part. The most important aspect on the left-hand path is deification of the self. What does that exactly mean? Well, it doesn't mean that you give false pretense as if you're a god and not actually living it. Easier to say I'm a god, but are you living it? To deify the self is an attainment of enlightenment. It's to be enlightened or awakened to yourself, which is independently existing intellect and its relative immortality. So you become aware of yourself. But the problem is that we have this misconception of self. Know thyself. Know thyself to be true. Know thyself and you will know the gods, etc., etc., etc. But what really is the self? Is it the self that was created to survive on a day-to-day basis in this society? Or is it something else? I ask that because a lot of times individuals do not understand that the self is beyond just this self-created individual to survive in society. The person that you had to create to survive in this world. That's not totally you. That's a small aspect of you. The true self is the part of yourself that is rarely tapped into. Your latent potential, your powers, your gifts, your abilities. That's good. But there's another side, the shadow self, the darker self, the part of yourself that is just as relevant and sometimes even more important than the self you created to exist. That shadow self is a part of yourself that deals with your pain, drama from the past that tended to lead into a trauma or traumatic state. It tends to lead into issues that became habitual problems later in life. It is all of those aspects and more. It is dealing with your weaknesses and how your weaknesses have a lot more to say and affect you more than you can imagine in the process of your awakening or in the process of truly knowing yourself. The problem is that we love to deal with how wonderful we are, how great we are, how fantastic we are. But we fail to forget that as fantastic and wonderful as we are, is as weak and conniving and backstabbing and sadistic that we can be. And it's no different. What I mean by that is they're relatively just two principles or poles of vibrating frequency of the same thing. It's all how you perceive it. What I mean by that is your pain can be your happiness. If you learn how to transform your pain into happiness, you'll understand what I mean. Okay? Your pain can propel you to greater heights than your happiness can at many times. Is that important? Yes. Because as great and wonderful and polite and kind you are, is as sick and perverted and nasty as you can be. One problem. That side, as Carl Jung said, the shadow side is not readily looked upon as favorable. So what happens is we never deal with that part of ourselves and we suffocate, repress, and resist those parts of ourselves and keep pushing it further down, but it never leaves. It only gets stronger. And when it comes out in detrimental ways sometimes. It's very important to understand as you go forth dealing with relationships, dealing with things of that nature. It's very important to understand that you have to deal with those aspects of yourself. And when you do, you start to deify and strengthen the self because your strengths are just as relevant and important as your weaknesses. You learn to take weaknesses, make them into strengths. This is important when you're dealing with dating and relationships. And I'll tie that in a moment. It's also important, the second most important aspect of the left-hand path is antinomianism. Hey, I said it right for once. All right. Which is actually, in so many words, going against the grain or going against the culturally conditioned and conventional norms of society of what's good, what's evil, what's right or wrong. This also is important when you deal with relationships or dating. Now, mind you, you're going against the grain of what's culturally considered to be normal in society. Now you'll understand why I segue into relationships as I start going into this way why I started with these two most important aspects on the left-hand path. If you're deifying yourself and you're the God over yourself, does that mean that you can't share that with someone else and it makes you lesser if you do that? No, that's not what it means. But what it does mean, or what it does lead to, is the fact that if you're working on becoming a God and dealing with your issues and problems and learning to master and overcoming that, and you're in a relationship or dating someone who's far negligent of any of that and refuses to deal with any of that, there's a problem. The problem is you're growing and that person's stagnant and refusing to grow. Then creates a dilemma. Well, I'm growing, I'm trying to transform or elevate. This individual is stagnant and not doing nothing to grow. And in the long run, it will start to seem as that individual is holding you back or holding you down. You understand? That is why you have to understand first, master yourself, deifying the self, and then in your day-to-day interaction, your level of magnetic attraction, meaning what you draw to you, will be more akin to what you're presently vibrating on. But if just, let's say, you do happen to attract someone who's just quite not on your level or not even close to it, should you talk to them? Should you date them? See, I throw these questions out because it's not just a discussion. I mean, it's just not a lecture, but it's a discussion that I'm trying to get y'all to think, so that after I do this part, we can really get into some serious questions and discussion. But I'm keep throwing this out there to make you think, to pop the mind into really thinking. So if you're becoming an individual who is attaining enlightenment and you're dealing with someone who's not or doesn't even care about it, then what does that say about you? It might say that you're really not about what you say you're about. Uno, one. Two, it might say that this is now posing a challenge to you to see if you're really about what you say you're about and how do you handle it. So you have to really deal with that aspect when it comes to dating or relationships. Is this person on my level or seeking to get on a level that we can grow and nurture that part within each other? Or is this person just not even giving two shits about it? The problem is, I found out that a lot of people deal with the latter more than the first. They're dealing with people who really ain't about shit, but they're still dealing with them. So now this presents a problem. So if you're really with that person and they ain't about shit, then what does that say about you again? Or are you really serious about your work? Or are you enabling yourself to still make excuses for that individual because you fell in love, blindly fell in love? Y'all know what I mean by blindly fall in love. Falling in love blindly is what most people tend to do, unfortunately. Is, oh, she got a fat ass, so I want that, I'm gonna hit that. Then you hit it, you bust your first couple nuts, and then reality says, then this person ain't worth shit. Or vice versa. The female says, oh, he got that body, he got them abs. Girl, he cut. He nice with it. He packing the heat and everything. Yeah, then he busts off, you bust off, and then you realize this nigga ain't worth shit. What do you do then? what do you do then? You was feeling them, but like I said in some discussions we've had, you really don't know if you love a person. I'm not even gonna get to love yet. Let's just deal with caring for a person. You really don't know if you care for a person until you bust them first 2 or 3 nuts. Sad reality, but that's the case. Because the first few months to whenever you actually have intercourse, most of the time it's lustful infatuation that seems to be blinded in this I care for this person. Listen, this dude that I know told me that he can he can know if he's going to fall in love or fall in love with a person in the first 3 minutes. 3 minutes, y'all. 3 minutes. That's a goddamn shame. If you think you could really fall in love with somebody in the first 3 minutes. Well, I tell you, I hear some strange shit. I'm going to fall in love with this individual in the first 3 minutes. Nigga, that's how long some of y'all take before you bust off that first nut. So please, cut it out. All right? The reality is, until you really engage in intercourse with an individual, you really don't know. You really don't know how much you really are feeling that person or not, because you're basically bombarded with hormones and lustful infatuation. Okay? So the second part, antinomianism. I said it right again. I'm happy. All right, getting used to it. Going against the grain of culturally conditioned or conventional norms of what we consider to be good or evil, the right way to do something. This is what's expected of you, etc., etc., etc. We're in the left-hand path, y'all. On the left-hand path, you are mastering yourself. You're going against the grain of what you have been taught about relationships or dating. Now we're going to get to the nitty-gritty. Dating or relationships. On the left-hand path, you're going against the grain. Think about it. Now, here's the problem that I've faced when I've discussed this with other individuals, okay? They take this going against the grain and they take an extreme methodology to it. They think that means I'm just going buck wild, haywire, crazy when it comes to dating or relationships. They think it just means just having a lustful orgy and letting it all hang out. Please, people, whoever's doing this or not doing this, it's not my concern. For your own benefit or for your own well-being, do not use the left-hand path as an excuse for you having lack of self-control and self-discipline sexually. Do not mask it under, oh, well, we're, in left-hand path, we're about indulging. We're indulging with discipline and well-controlled actions. We're not just saying, I'm going to indulge and going buck wild crazy. Meaning, oh, I'm the goddess. Listen, I've heard this stuff. So I'm just sharing what people have actually told me. I'm the goddess. My vagina's the black hole to the universe. It makes any man submit to me. If you think that this is what it's all about, you're out of your rabbit ass mind. Okay? It's not about that shit. If you're really about indulging, a person in the left-hand path indulges to, one, fulfill a desire, but the goal is to receive some kind of, what should I say, benefit or elevation from indulging in that desire. It's not just about busting off, y'all. It's about reaching an intended goal through fulfilling your desires. So individuals have gone buck wild crazy with this indulgence part and don't even realize they're really fucking themselves up in the process. So when it comes to dating, you're trying to be a god. What should you look for in another individual? Do they have to be on your same level all the time? No. But you should look for potential in that individual if you're dating with the idea to get in a relationship. Okay? You're dating with the idea to get in a relationship. If that's your intended goal, they should be on some kind of level, some kind of conscious level, some kind of level that they have potential to grow within themselves, to be a god over themselves, but also in a level where you two can partake in things together. We'll get to that in a moment. Okay? As well as you both understand not only are you trying to be masters over yourself, but you're also going against the grain. Meaning that you define your relationship according to what you two decide. Do you understand? You define your relationship according to what you two decide. Alpha genetics, don't worry, I'm going to get to you. But I usually do the question part towards the end. That's when we all get loose and just let it ride out in questions. So type that back in, and I'll let you know when I'm going to go to the question and answer part. Type it back in again, all right, towards the end. Not ignoring you, but I do usually like to just let it flow, and then we'll get to that. All right. So you're going against the grain, okay? You define your relationship according to what you two decide, meaning not based upon cultural norms of society or your culture or your ethnic group or your race or whatever, traditions or whatever. You decide what you define your relationship as. Okay? Not what people tell you it's supposed to be like. Not what society says this is what it's supposed to be like. It's what you decide it should be. So when you're in walking the left-hand path, you should be looking to meet individuals that are more like-minded, that you can date and may even lead to a relationship, that you two can define what your relationship is going to be like. That's important because I've had a lot of individuals contact me and they're miserable in their relationships, or they're lacking in their relationships, or they're missing things in their relationships, but they're now knee deep in their relationship, but they're so engulfed in the left-hand path and it's really transforming and growing, but they find dissatisfaction in their relationship. They don't get the total satisfaction that they're seeking. Yes, it's happened to a lot of individuals because you gravitated to the left-hand path. It spoke to you, it awakened you, and now you're knee deep in your relationship, and it's like, what the fuck do I do? Well, first of all right, let me say this. If you're in a relationship already and the person's not walking the path you're walking, you can still make it work so long as that individual is understanding and open-minded. If that is lacking, unfortunately, a lot of times your whole life is going to be turned upside down on the left-hand path. That includes your relationships. and your relationships may dissolve. Sorry, but that's just the reality. But if you do happen to have a partner that is open-minded and willing to discuss things, then you should put it all on the table. I like this, I like this, I like this. This is what I'm into, this is what I would like to try, this. Give your partner the option of either saying, yay, I'm willing to roll with you on that, or nay, I don't think I really want to roll with that. Give them the option to decide that. Don't force it upon them. You know what I mean by forcing? Well, fuck this nigga. I'm gonna do this shit regardless. And then that shit backfires on your ass, and then you get caught in a situation and, well, all hell breaks loose. So it's best to be in a situation that you can be open-minded in your relationship. There's a difference between open-minded relationship and open relationship. I hope y'all know the difference, but if you don't, I'm going to clarify. Me, myself, I can never be in a closed-minded relationship. Not happening. I can be in an open-minded relationship, which is different than an open relationship. Open relationship is your swingers, which I've done in the past with my ex-wife. I was a swinger. No shame in the game. Okay? I did the swinging thing for a little while. And it's different than open-minded. Open relationship is you could just freestyle it. Okay? Open-minded is more so this. I'm open-minded to the fact that let's just happenstance say that both individuals are walking the left-hand path or into the cold, whatever. And I understand life that you as an individual are going to get bored. Please do not tell me that you've never gotten bored with your partner. Don't give me the fluffy shit. Oh, I love him or I love her so much shit. Okay? Everybody gets bored. It's human nature to get bored. All right? I don't give a damn how great this mother effer is in bed. You're still going to get bored. But if you do get bored, can you be open-minded enough? By this, I mean discuss it with your partner. I think I'm bored. I think I need some spice in this relationship. What are we willing to do to make this relationship last or bring spice back into this relationship? What are we willing to try together or whatever? So, for example, let's say you're a woman in a relationship and you've been in a relationship with your man for 5 years, let's say. You're bored. Though he's a great lover, everything else, you still got bored. You go to the gym, you see this mother effer that's just looking so good for you. You just like, damn, this dude is in my head. I can't get this dude out of my head. Trust me, I've heard all this stuff too before. All right. I can't get him out of my head. I don't know what to do. I get excited. I get turned on. I ain't even talk to this dude, and I'm just fucking fantasizing about him. Open-minded is discussing that with your mate, your partner. That's open-minded, being able to say, yo, I'm just feeling this dude. I know we're a little lacking in our relationship right now. What should we do about this situation that I'm presenting to you that I'm just desiring this dude and I just can't help it? It's human nature to desire other people. I don't care how long you've been in a relationship. So don't give me that shit. Okay? So you desire this person. You bring it. Open-minded is the man or the woman being able to say, well, if you really feel like you want to desire that, let's explore it. But if you explore it, you have to have certain things, parameters that you set within that exploration to still safeguard your relationship. Okay? To still safeguard your relationship, you should have some parameters laid out so it doesn't get buck wild crazy to the point your relationship is jeopardized. That's open-minded. It's not the whole swinging thing that, okay, you swing We go out to a club, sex club, whatever, and we swing, we screw. Because a lot of times individuals to do the whole swinging thing, they really are not satisfied in their relationship on any level, which a lot of times they should have never gotten in a relationship with this person in the first place. And it just sometimes can lead to serious problems because I I don't share personal stories too often, but I'm gonna share this one. So my ex-wife and this is years ago, probably about 15 years ago. So we decided to try the swinging thing. Unbeknownst to me, this was just an outlet for her to really just go crazy. Mind you, we're supposed to be open. We're supposed to be in an open relationship, discussing things, and she decides to sleep around, cheat on me, basically. Because even if we're swingers, you're supposed to meet the individuals. I mean, you're supposed to meet the couples. You're supposed to discuss if this is something you want to do or not. She couldn't wait. She went behind my back and still slept with somebody else. Okay, that's a little side story, but listen. So the first two couples we met, I wasn't feeling the females that much. All right. The third couple we met, I was feeling the female. I'm gonna explain why. The first two couples, one of them was a Mexican lady, skinny, ordered, just not into the skinny thing. Sorry. When I mean skinny, y'all, I'm talking about skinny. All right. The second couple was this Venezuelan lady with fake ass titties. I'm just not into the fake ass titty thing. And not the fake ass shit either. I want my shit 100% organic. So the third woman we met, when I'm talking about curvy, big booty, fat, talking about thick, sister was thick. That one was delicious. And what happened is my ex-wife, and her husband are dealing, me and her are dealing, but it got crazy. Old girl started calling me at 2, 3 in the morning. I need to have you. I got to have you. I want to have you. Come see me now. See, this is what happens sometimes in swinging that people don't talk about. It got to the point where she was obsessed with me, where she had to have me all the time. Yet she has a man and I have a wife. That's open relationships that sometimes could lead to serious jeopardy in your relationship. So this woman was constantly on me. One of the reasons why is her fantasy was be with a Puerto Rican dude. By the way, she's African American, right? She always wanted her fantasy was be the Puerto Rican dude. So of course, I volunteered. No, let me stop. But anyways, so the whole thing worked out. But she just went crazy. So I learned from experience that open relationships can sometimes be hazardous because it opens your appetite, and people do not know how to really stop or lay out the parameters, and it can get in jeopardy. Whereas if you're open-minded, these things don't happen all the time, but when they do, you do discuss it openly and decide together if that's something you want to do or not. And you should both be respectful enough to say yes or no, and not feel afraid to say yes. I'm gonna let that happen. I'm willing to go through it, or no, I'm not feeling it. So you both are working together in your relationship to make either something a reality, or it's just not the time, or it's not what we're into, or what I'm into, or whatever the case may be. What happens is people on the left-hand path have problems in even dating or relationships because you're on the left-hand path. And I know this gets problematic for some people because the minute you start talking about, I don't believe in that shit, I don't believe in God, I don't believe in this and that, that's it. You're a heathen, you're the devil, you're this and this and that. That is over. Next, on to the next person. That's okay. Let's see what this person is. So it becomes difficult on the left-hand path to really date individuals that are not really rolling with what you're into. So what do you do at that point? Do you not tell the individual that you're on the left-hand path and you're into the occult and witchery and all the mysteries and things like that, and just get the shit you want, or you just be real and let them know? That is your own individual choice, how you want to run it or play that. However, be aware that if you don't decide to tell the person, okay, and you think that I'm gonna just get into this because I need that energy, I want to have that energy, I gotta have that energy. This person is just got that strong sexual energy, and I just need it. Be aware that the individual that you want the energy from is not fucked up. Let me explain what I mean. If a lot of times, if you're not on the same level and you're taking sexual energy from a person, it can be detrimental to you. More beneficial than you, it's not as beneficial as you think, I should say. It can be detrimental because if that person's not on the same level, that means they haven't dealt with their bullshit, they haven't dealt with their issues. They might not have a healthy lifestyle as far as eating healthy, exercise, and things like that. They may have a lot of shit or toxic energy, but all you feel is the sexual energy. Okay, you take that. You have intercourse, sexual fluids are exchanged. Whether they ejaculate in you or not, there's still sexual fluids that are exchanged. Whether they wear a condom or not, bodily fluids are exchanged. All this is happening. What happens is that there's a draining of energy. If this person's not on your level, they can drain your energy and affect you in an adverse way. More than what you really would gain or take that energy from a person, it's actually more adverse at times because you're actually with a person who's not on that level with or even close to your level, which means you're taking a chance because you really don't know their background. This is why I said earlier, it's in left-hand path, not just about indulgence. You have to be smart, like super smart, smarter, more selected than you were before the left-hand path. Because on the left-hand path, it's about becoming a god. So why would you put yourself in jeopardy for somebody who's going to take from you instead of help raise up with you? Do you understand? It becomes dangerous. It can become very dangerous. I don't give a damn what you say. Oh, I'm a master of myself. I got this. I'm in control. I done heard people say that, and 3 months later, that motherfucker effed up. Energy all screwed up. They're all off balance in their life. Their emotions are messed up. That's because you took in that person's whole essence at that time of sexual interaction. You took it in upon you. And now you're digesting and synthesizing that within your own DNA, and it's confusing you or messing you up. So no, the path of indulgence is just not an unbridled, just straight out getting buck wild kind of thing. It's a thing of cultivation and raising up your energy to become even a greater God. So you define your relationships on the left-hand path. If you decide to be in an open relationship, meaning swinging and things like that, that's your choice. Just be ready for the consequences that come from it. My personal experience and taste would be an open-minded relationship where you deal with things accordingly as they happen. And both of you are essentially walking the same path or a similar path where you're more open-minded to the reality that there comes points in time where you get bored with each other in relationships, or you may desire somebody else or things of that nature. When you're dating, that is the crucial time to get to know an individual. I know some people are just horny, freaky, crazy, and want it right away. Nah, Nick, slow your roll. Okay, it's not about jumping the gun and just busting off because you can't control yourself. That is the time when you're dating to find out everything about the person that you can, their background, more so their mental background. Are they crazy? Are they super psychotic? Are they borderline sociopath, borderline psychopath? That's the time to find out. Before any sexual interaction, that's the time to find out. Because in the first 3 months to the first year, a person starts to really let you know who they are. And you, as an individual, can start to really realize certain problems or issues that individual may have. And are you willing to roll with that because you feel y'all can elevate together, or you just ain't trying to hear that? Take your time when you're dating. Find out everything you can about an individual. Find out as much as you can. Do not be afraid to question that individual. But at the same time, respect that individual as well. What I mean by that is there's certain times individuals will not speak to you about certain things about their private life because they're protective of their private life. Respect that. Don't keep pushing and pushing and pushing to eventually you just destroy any possibility of anything. Respect that. When they're ready to share their personal life, they will. Or their private life, they will. But respect that. But at the same time, do ask questions and keep pushing for greater insight into that individual, their mind, what they really think like. What is their childhood like? That's one of the most important questions you can ask when dating somebody. What is your childhood like? Was your daddy there? Was your mommy there? And most likely she was there. Most daddies disappear, but if she was there, was she loving, caring, compassionate, or controlling and dominant? Because that has a lot to do with the person's behavior, and that will affect them still later on in life. And it can either affect your relationship, destroy your relationship, or cause problems in your relationship. Okay? So ask questions. On the left-hand path, we question everything. Everything. Do not ever be afraid to ask a question. But I would not suggest to just jump the gun and get buck wild without having some background on this person. Secondly, I go so far as to tell you this. If you're going to sleep with somebody, make that person get tested. If you can't wait, then you got some serious self-control issues. Make that person get tested. At the same time, you get tested. Because in today's world, not taking chances, buddy. Now, if you feel like you want to play Russian roulette, take a chance with somebody because they sexy and they this and they that, that's up to you. But I would not suggest that. I would suggest get a thorough background check on that individual as far as their health. Their health. Okay? If it's just a sexting and you're just dating for a sexting, you still should know a lot about this individual before you decide to lay with the person. The problem is a lot of people don't do those things and then they wonder why they're screwed later. This person could have been straight psychotic. You don't know because they could be a great actor or actress, and then you're in a predicament afterwards because you had sex and then unfortunately somebody got pregnant and now they terrorize your life forever. It happens because you can't control yourself. Left-hand path is about self-control, self-mastery. You can have self-control and indulge, but you indulge wisely. I'll repeat this over and over so people get it. Okay? Thirdly, fourthly, wherever the hell I'm at. If you're in a relationship and you care about the person as much as you say you do, then why would you cheat? I've had people discuss things with it, that are on the left-hand path and everything else. Whatever. The choice is, okay, why would you cheat? Ask yourself that. Why would you cheat if you really love this person? Once you get that answer, then you'll know who you are. Some of y'all cheaters really don't give a fuck about that person. You just lying to yourself, saying I do care about this person, all for the sake of being in a conditioning program that I have to be in a relationship, I have to be married, and I have to be kids because that's what society expects of me. That's what my culture expects of me. That's what my family expects of me. And you're miserable. So at the same time, ask yourself, do you really want to be married? Are you the type that should be married? Because some of y'all ain't marriage material. I'm just being real. But address that within yourself and make it clear when you start talking to somebody, this is just dating. I don't want a relationship. Do not mislead somebody making them think you want a relationship. You don't. Say it. Do not be afraid to speak your truth. Do not be afraid to come forth and say these things, because individuals will consistently manipulate others just to get what they want. So do not be afraid to discuss it and bring it forth. It's hard enough being on the left-hand path. It's hard enough to find people on your level. Don't make it even harder by not being real and open about who you are, and what you desire, what you want, and make no games and mistakes about it. This is what it is. If they respect that and they're willing to roll with you, cool. If they not, keep it moving. Don't do that to people. All right. For some reason, my chat is down, so I can't see anything. Once it comes up, we'll start taking questions. I'll tell y'all when it comes up, but unfortunately right now it's just not cooperating, y'all, in the least bit. Still not up. Anyways, like I said, the main thing is realize if you're on the left-hand path, you're going against the grain. Your whole existence is consistently going against the grain, questioning everything about yourself, questioning everything about your society, your culture, your upbringing, and breaking those programmings. So at the same time, yes, it may seem like I'm going against the grain, so I got to go against all these things. But you have to understand, every action has a consequence. Whether that consequence is beneficial or negative, every action has a consequence. As a God, you take responsibility for that consequence and make no excuses for it. You own it. Okay? So your choices will be yours. I'm just sharing things from my personal experience walking the left-hand path and relationships for years of my life and things of that nature. It's not the only way, it's not the right way, it's just what I share. So don't think I'm trying to say this is what you should do, how you should do. I'm just giving y'all suggestions on what it's like. So hit me with questions. All right, let me address alpha genetics, because I got a feeling I know who alpha genetics is. Why do men chase pussy? Trust me, I know who that is, man. What a guy. But anyways, men tend to chase pussy a lot of times because we are horny by nature. A man's very existence is to dominate and to want to create. So it's gotten to the point where men have stopped really creating and being responsible. They just want to dominate nowadays. But what happens is, as dominant as a man wants to be, most men fall victim to the desire of the vagina. Because of the power of the yoni or the vagina, most men cannot resist it. So they end up becoming really weak, really soft, or really uh, controllable individuals. And I'm saying this because I'm gonna give a warning, y'all. These men that are constantly berating you with the black woman is God, her yoni is the black hole of the universe. You're this goddess and you're amazing goddess and I worship you goddess. I'm gonna tell you right now, woman, run from them niggas. He's feeding you what I like to call panty lines. He's feeding you all the things he thinks is gonna boost your ego up so he can get the panties. I don't give a damn if he really believes that shit or not. His ultimate goal is to get your panties. So he's gonna tell you every little rehearsed line, every little research he's done on how the black woman is God, the goddess this, the yoni this, the vagina this. If he spends that much time telling you that, you already should know this dude is all about trying to get in my drawers. You should know that. So beware of them dudes who want to chase you down and goddess you up and big you up as the womb of the universe and all this. Be wary and run. That means the dude is controlled by the vagina. That means he is addicted to the vagina. And the minute he gets your vagina, he's going to seek someone else that he can say, goddess, womb of the universe, you're so divine. He's really addicted to the vagina. And he's going to use that line over and over to keep conquering as many so-called goddesses as possible. Okay? It's bullshit. He's really controlled by the vagina. And he's really, as they say in some circles, a simp. He will do anything and everything and make himself seem like a real man, but he's actually a sissy, a chump. If he has to go that far out of his way to vagina-size you, you should know by now, watch out. But unfortunately, some women still fall for that ish. Mandy, woman chase pussy, lick pussy, stick their finger in the pussy, and all that stuff more than a man. And let me tell y'all this. Trust me, I know from experience about some of my friends that I have, okay, that are lesbians or things of that nature. Some of these women get with studs thinking that it's going to be a romantic affair or adventure. Some of them studs are worse than dudes, y'all. I know some of these women have told me these stories. These studs fucked them over more than the dude ever did. Okay? I know that from a lot of my friends who are lesbian that have told me this. Don't fall for that stud shit, y'all. Oh, she's a stud, so she understands the woman nature. Well, then why the fuck is she trying to look and dress like a man so much? Don't give me that shit. Okay? Realize that if she gotta come with you with that, studly affair, studly look and look and talk, you falling for the same thing a nigga would do to you. Same thing a brother does to you. You falling for that shit. It's just that it doesn't seem like that because behind the clothes is a female. But she's a female who's become masculine in nature, more masculine energy, and she has more of a masculine mindset. So she's going to play you probably harder and use you harder than a dude would. All right? Some of y'all know. Some people are admitting it. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand that shit. This shit is not a game, but it is a game. I've been around this planet long enough to know and see the games played. All the games that these young kids or teenage or 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds are playing, I played that shit years ago. There's nothing new under the sun. It's just a different lingo. The way they saying it, how they saying it is a little different, but it's the same shit. They're playing the same game over and over and over. Woman, I'm also share this. Woman, be careful. Sure, as you get older, this is raw science, y'all. As you get older, a woman's sexual energy and level increases. Whereas a man, after the age of 40, his testosterone and sexual energy at times tends to decrease. So that means that a man starts to level off, a woman starts to increase. So you're going to start seeking younger men. Be careful. I know a lot of older sisters who walked the left-hand path and got with these younger dudes because she thought that I'm more mature, more wise, more intelligent. I'm going to get this energy off of this young nigga and I'm going to ride out. And it fucked them up. Be careful. A young dude, you think you're going to drain him, but that young dude can actually drain you. He'll go 5, 6, 7 rounds without even ejaculating. Your ass are ready to pass out like this nigga still ain't come. I'm done. Y'all know this. Okay? Be careful because them younger men have more issues because they really don't know what they want in their life. They still have daddy and mama issues. They still trying to identify themselves. And here you come meeting this young dude, say, "Oh, I'm gonna just devour this young dude." True enough, but guess what they're doing too? They're gonna devour you, drain you, and leave you with a bunch of their issues left behind inside of you. Sure, you got some energy, but what you got more of was the bullshit that they left behind. So be careful. I'm not telling you not to do nothing. Shit, life is life. Enjoy your shit, indulge in things, but indulge wisely. All right? Indulge wisely because you can be played. All right, Nikki, see me slide. Let me say this. If I had a wife or not, I would not say it on here. Why? It's not that I don't trust some of y'all. It's that I keep my private life private because there has been incidences on YouTube because people do YouTube videos where people come to their house and try to do some harm. Not happening. So I wouldn't put my private life, personal life out there like that for the simple fact that I'm not taking chances. I protect myself and my private life is protected. So I'm going to say that because I done have people that I personally know who do YouTube had some incidences happen because of that. So I wouldn't say that. However, I'm going to say this. I would never get with somebody who's closed-minded and somebody who would not allow myself to indulge in things vampiric sex rituals, things of that nature. Because yes, I want to indulge, and I'm not going to let anybody stop me from indulging. So I'm not the kind of person that I want to cheat behind a woman's back. I rather tell her straight up, this is what I would like to do. Give her the option to either agree to be down with it or not be down with it. But I'm not about doing the cheating thing and sneaking behind the back. So I'll tell you that, yeah, I would never be in a relationship that's going to stop me from doing any of that. At the same time, my freaky self wants her to get down and busy with the shit she want to get down with. I'm just saying. That's the shit, like, that's me. I want her to see her enjoy her sexual life too and indulge in the things she wants, even if it's not including me. I know most men have a problem with that because they're so controlling, dominant. They gotta be so egotistical. I'm the shit. I'm the one. I gotta be the greatest. Fuck that. If you honest with yourself, you ain't always gonna be the greatest, bro. But I can be real. I would like to see her enjoy her sexual indulgences and her desires. I'm freaky. I get down. I watch. I don't gotta participate. I'm being real, y'all. That's it. That's how I roll. Ooh, Mandy, you silly. But that's how I roll. So I'm extremely on the left-hand path. I walk the left-hand path every day. Every day I check myself. Every day I deal with my issues and problems. Every day I challenge myself to overcome these things and become greater. And every day I take control of my life more and more. Every day I apply the principles of the left-hand path to be greater than I ever was yesterday. I check myself for all of that. I address myself on all my issues, my anger issues. I address myself on my desires. I address myself on all this stuff. Because I feel if you're going to be on the left-hand path, it's okay if you want to dress the part, but live it. And you can only really live the left-hand path if you actually are challenging yourself and addressing yourself on all the shit that you're really not dealing with. That shadow dark side of yourself, going into that abysmic mind and dealing with those parts there. And when you realize that, can you love the beautiful side of yourself as much as your perverted side? Can you do that? Because I can. And I embrace both because they're essentially me and are me. There is no difference between that beautiful, nice side of who Ravana Noon is and that perverted, freaky side. There's no difference. It's all me. Society wants to separate, dice, and cut and make you think that there's two different parts and it's not. You got to suppress one part because it's not really you. Listen, that shit was there and it's been there for years. It's you, buddy. Okay? It's you. And you better own up to that and embrace that fact. I'm not telling you to go advertise it on YouTube or advertise it on a street corner, all your craziness. That's not for them to know. That's for you and whoever you choose to share that with. But live that shit. And let me say this because I wanted to address that again, like I said earlier, because some of y'all weren't here earlier. Like Mandy said, true to yourself. Here's the thing I have. When a lot of people say self, you have these, and some of y'all heard these people before, you have these self idiots. And what I mean by that is this: everything's love thyself. It's about the self. The self is so wonderful. The self is this. Please, those mother effers give the self a bad name. Okay? Because all they're looking at is this Cheerio side of self and not the darkest, deepest aspect of yourself that has fucked you up to this day. Now, all right, so I'm going to say this. There's always been sacred whores. So that's what we term them today. But in ancient Kemet, you had temples that you had women that were, because let me say real quick, let me divert this. because at this age of 47, I've gone through enough relationships where I can share aspects of things. But why the hell would I discuss my personal relationship with anybody on here if I don't personally know you? I just protect myself and keep myself protected. If that's not understandable, then sorry, but I protect myself and my personal life. I'm not one of these reality TV show people that put everything out there. Nah, not happening. But anyways, back to this. Now, what's interesting, Love Kills, is that I did relate and share information about my ex-wife and the relationship and what we did in our relationship earlier. So I don't know if you were here for that, but we did go over that. But as my present personal day life, not discussing that. I ain't want to be these YouTube people that somebody comes up to their house and tries to threaten or do something. I ain't playing that shit. I'm taking that nigga out, killing him, do what I have to do. Once you cross that line, it's over. Period. So I protect that. I'm not going to jeopardize my stuff and be like these people who put you in their bathroom, their toilet, them showering together and all that. Please, I have a personal life, and I like to keep that shit personal. Period. But I did discuss my past relationship with my ex-wife. Anyways, yes, there were sacred whores in Kemet and other ancient civilizations. And as a matter of fact, I know this may seem a little bizarre because of our present day mentality and situation, but a lot of times in ancient Kemet, a man would not marry a woman unless she already had sexual experience. A virgin wasn't looked upon as prominent in ancient Kemet. It was actually preferred that a woman had sexual experiences prior to uh, either marrying her or getting in a relationship with her. It was looked upon as more valid if she had sexual experiences because the man wanted to know that he could be pleased. Okay, so in that case, some of these women were brought to the temple and were taught by the so-called sacred whores, sacred prostitutes, whatever you call it, and they would teach the other woman there how to please a man in many different ways. Okay, even at times please each other as females. They also had rituals. So, yeah, I was walking the path back then with my ex-wife 10 years ago. Yeah, we were already on the cult walking that path. We were already dealing with the left-hand path then. But situations occur within our relationships where dishonesty occurred and just separated us. So I'll just say that. But there were certain rituals that took place in these temples, certain things that were done with some of the soldiers, certain sexual acts that were done that would seem like bizarre, ludicrous to people nowadays because we're so conditioned and uptight about our personal uh, desires, our personal sexual desires or wants. We tend to be very uptight about these things. So, because of that, on the left hand path, it's about addressing a lot of those things because, yes, our ancestors did things differently than we did. They looked at things differently than we did and participated in things differently than we did today. Well, all right. I'll say this. Mandy brings up a good point here. I'm not afraid of anything, but I don't feel that I'm going to be baited or answer questions that I don't choose to. So, Love Kills, if you feel like you want to keep trying to bait somebody and ask questions, you can exit stage left or stage right, your choice. But I'm not answering to nobody. I answer to myself. That's what a God does. A dark magician on the left hand path, a God answers to himself and only to himself. If I choose to answer a person, that's what I choose to do. But I'm not going to be baited or tricked into trying to answer a person. It doesn't happen. You could keep that stage right or stage left. Personal life. All right, as y'all, some of y'all know, I'm 47. At an early age, let's just say, I started having free will sexual experiences at a very early age. I was very sexual for many years and had to learn about relationships basically on my own because I tended to be very sexual from 11. Oh shit, I even said the age. Damn. Anyways, whatever. From 11 to many years later, I was very sexual, could never really be in a relationship. Didn't even want to be in a relationship, to tell you the truth. But because of that, eventually I started slowing down and wanted to experience what relationships were like, what they really were about. True indeed, Mandy. That is the best test ever. Mandy states, for some of y'all who are reading, or if you can't see it, the soldiers were tested, and if they broke, they were true to self, and if they didn't, they wasn't true to go to battle. Best test ever, indeed. So, anyway, so I learned about relationships later on when I got more in my 20s. Needless to say, I was not good in relationships. Not good at all. I had to learn the hard way. I cheated before in my relationships because I never knew how to be open. I couldn't communicate about myself, about my problems, about things I went through as a child, whatever. So I went through a lot of relationships, experienced a lot of things to eventually I started learning how to chill more in relationships. Okay. Straight Panther, type it in again because it kind of confused me the way it came out. Love kills, ain't nobody tripping off you. See, this is the thing that get me funny. Y'all ask questions over and over. I address the answer over and over, but yet y'all keep trying to ask the same question another way. Once I say I'm not answering it, y'all gotta just realize I'm not gonna answer that. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. If I don't trip off of that, but don't keep trying to bait the game. I don't do this. Listen, I've done this stuff way too long to play the game with people. Once I say I'm not answering it, that's it. When you realize the concept of being a god over yourself, you realize you don't have to answer no one if you don't choose to. You don't have to do a damn thing if you don't choose to. And if you can't accept that, then let it be. But don't ask me 10 different ways like I can't see what you're trying to do. I done started lecturing in 1994. This is not a new thing to me. So don't play the game. I'm just being real. I'm not tripping off you. I don't know you to even care enough to be tripping about you. But don't try to trick and play the game and ask it 5 different ways. Cut that shit out, please. I don't have time for that. Jesus. Unbelievable. That's right. Nikki See Me Slide said it best. You don't answer to nobody. It's your choice if you want to answer. It's not that old game, right hand path, I gotta answer, or this or that. Oh, okay. I think Mandy, I think you might want to elucidate on that. I mean elucidate shit. God damn it. I mean you might want to elaborate. He's asking, is it Mandy or hold on? Yes, Mandy. He's asking, what do you mean by broke? Had an orgasm or resisted? When you spoke about the test with the soldiers. So you might want to elaborate and I'll read it off to the group just in case. So, anyways, like the whole experience in the relationship thing, I went through that. Finally, I started slowing down, going through relationships, learning more on how to really be in a relationship. Through experiences, I sucked. Trust me, I sucked at the beginning, but I learned how to how to get better, how to be more understanding, how to open up more, things of that nature. Finally, I got married. It was cool for the first few years, then that got crazy and out of hand. And that's just what happened. It got out of hand. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't be honest. We ended up, even though we said we were going to be open and honest with each other, we ended up cheating on each other. So, you learn from the old way, the hard way. Yes, I know, brother. Oh, so my brother, I know it's a real word, but I forgot it in the context when I was thinking about it, so I messed it up. So that's how it is. And what's funny about this, Love Kills, is that I know who you are. I just ain't gonna say it. But it's all good. You cute for trying, though. I'm gonna say that. You cute for trying. All you gotta do is hit me up. If you really want to discuss stuff, hit me up. That's another story. However, so all that happened, started learning about life, relationships, things of that nature. So I share from things of that nature. I was, put it this way, I used to be an individual who was okay with me, like when I was younger, okay with me indulging, but not my partner. So I was closed off to the fact that your partner has sexual desires as well. Not just sexual desires, just desires in general. And some of us men tend to be all about self, and it's about me and how I want it and the way I want it and the way it is. It's all good. But the bottom line is, through experience, you will learn to open your mind and understand that individuals all have their own personal things, their own personal desires, wants, goals, things of that nature, and open your mind to that and accept that reality that they're an individual. A lot of times in relationships, we try to mold each other and force each other to be what we want them to be instead of who they are. All right, so, oh shit, South Kiss Ray. I ain't seen South Kiss Ray in years. My goodness. Make me feel like a youngster. About to bust out breaking here. All right, anyways. For all y'all don't know, South Kiss Ray is a talented individual, boy. That's just a mad talented. Yeah. I ain't seen her in a minute, though. But anyways. So let me read off what Mandy's breaking down to help with Stray Panther. She said, the pharaohs would line their soldiers up before they were picked up to go to battle. And they would bring whores into the chamber to test them. And if the soldiers gave in to their true self and broke to their sexual desire, they were front line, and the ones that didn't and held back their true self, their desires didn't go to war to rep the pharaoh. Spelling's off because I'm typing. Okay, so let me see if I'm saying this straight, Mandy. Just because I know the auto typing and all this stuff sometimes throw things off. So what you're saying is that if they gave in to their desires, they were sent to the front line. But if they held back and repressed themselves, they were held back. Is that what you're saying? Thumbs up or thumbs down? I'm waiting for Mandy. She'll respond in a minute. I can tell you this, there were other tests about raising the apron. You ever heard about raising the apron test? All right, cool, Manny. Just making sure. All right, there's a raising the apron test in chemists. If you've heard of it, put a thumbs up. If you ain't, or just say yes. If you haven't heard of it, I'll continue and elaborate. But anyways, the raising the April apron. All right, the raising the April. Oh my God, why the hell keep saying April? That's fucking 2 months ago, 3 months ago. The raising the apron test was in this manner. You would be brought into the ritual room. You would have the apron such as what you see on Asar or Tutankhamun. Okay? And to prove you were a real man, you had to have the ability to raise the apron, raise it up. Meaning your erection would have to be strong and potent to raise the apron up. If you weren't able to raise that apron up, you were considered impotent. Okay? So keep that in mind. You were considered impotent. So that's one of the many tests that took place in Kemet. Today, people just got it free and easy. They don't get initiated. They don't get tested. They just get all this knowledge. They go on Google, boom, 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 all this stuff, and really have some idea, but not real deep ideas of the inner mysteries of what really is taking place in the inner chambers of the temples to really test your womanhood and manhood so that you could really be of a different state of mind. This is why when people ask me, I will tell them, you don't have to be initiated. You don't have to do anything. That's your personal choice. My personal opinion, some of y'all should be initiated into some organization or school to understand the symbolism of death, life, sex, and creation and destruction. And when you go through the mysteries within whatever order, organization, or whatever you choose, you start to understand the symbolism from the inside. What I mean is from your inner eye out, more than just reading a book. You start to understand that symbolism in great detail. And you take control of that. Salkus Ray, type your question. I'll get to it. No doubt. Listen, Nick, you already know, because you've been watching some videos now. You should always deal with your lower frequencies, vibrations, energies, perversions, emotions. It's just as valid as your higher frequencies and vibrations. You should be able to deal with your jealousy. You should be able to deal with your controlling your power and control problems. You should be able to deal with your obsessive problems, your possessive problems. You should be able to deal with your frustration. You should be able to deal with and discuss your over sex or too much sex or no sex. You should present person or a true self, as people like to say, if you don't deal with all aspects of yourself. I spend most of my time dealing with shadow work or the abysmic mind, going into the deep subconscious part of my mind, dealing with the darkest of shit, with the darkest of energies, with the darkest of elementals and things of that nature. That's what I tend to deal most of my time with. I don't really deal with a lot of this kind of topic. This topic was kind of brought up because an individual was really curious because they've experienced situations where it's problematic while they're on the left-hand path. So I said, okay, word, let's discuss this. Let's go into this. You understand? But me personally, I don't really deal with a lot of these topics because I go more into dealing with this, the subconscious, going deep into the abyss, dealing with the shit that's deep down inside of that we refuse to deal with. That's what I like to deal with more. Not the stuff like this, though. It's relevant and it's important because it is, for some individuals, it is difficult to date in the left-hand side, and it becomes something that is, very detrimental. But I'm all for your experiences. You should go and experience anything and everything. And let me say this before I answer Salkus Ray's question. Well, Nikki, yeah, kind of. Yeah. Anyways, let me say this. If you can't be 100% real with yourself and paint a picture that you're such a great god or goddess and you're so dark and mysterious and your pussy's divine and your penis is spectacular and all this, and you get with somebody and you do nothing for them, you just created your own ego burst. What I mean by that is deal with the fact that you might not be the greatest as you think you are. Realize that, like, let's say right now, me at 47, I realize I have certain limitations when it comes to working out. I work out 4 to 5 times a week, y'all. But I have certain limitations where I realize, yo, bro, slow the F down before you pull a muscle, hurt yourself. I can stretch for 2 hours before I work out. I still know that there's certain limitations I got to be real with. Well, see, I'm gonna get to Nikki in a second. Let me go to Sal. So now you're asking good questions. Okay, good question, Salkas Ray. What was my process? She asked, what was your process from being jealous to not minding if your mate explores a sexual appetite without you? You want to know what the process was? Putting myself, my shit on the table, my inventory on the table. When it came to that, we're dealing with the sexual side of it. So I put my sexual inventory on the table, my desires, likes, wants, things of that nature. And what I found out is that's one of the things I get turned on about. That it's something that is stimulating for me. Okay? So when you find that out, you start to say, well, damn, okay, it's stimulating, okay? It's arousing, but I have the issue of jealousy possibly popping up, control popping up, insecurities popping up. So how do you wrestle with these two? How do you deal with these two? Because one, you're being honest with yourself about something you just realized may possibly arouse you, but how do you deal with the emotional aspect that comes with it? So I started to ask myself questions. Why am I jealous? If I was to be jealous, why am I jealous? Well, see, this is the problem. If you're really brutally honest, you'll start to find out that the jealousy tends to happen to come from a major part of ego. And what I mean by that is this. We all want to be the best. And we don't want anybody to be better than us. Some way, somehow, we would like to always be the best and someone else not to be better than us. But when you start to check your ego and realize, I only can be the best I can be for me and in my life and in my situations, but that might not be the best for other people. Everybody's different. Everybody has their likes, wants, distaste, taste, whatever the case is. Once you accept that reality and that part of yourself, then you start to be able to put aside a lot of the emotions and insecurities and things that pop up and be able to let go and explore and see where it takes you. Now, Mandy is on point to the max. The only reason why I brought it up is because a lot of people suppress their true self. And back then, they tested your true self, which is just as important as now. Period. Now, that's good because it segues into the next question, is going to go into what Nikki says. Yeah, but as a magician, we should not be so easily drawn into a low vibe where you knew on the left hand path when you were acting all sneaking jealous and shit. I'm still human. And a part of being on the left-hand path is experience and challenging yourself. So when these things came up, the jealousy and things like that, it's a part of yourself just as much as your higher vibrations and frequencies is as much as yourself. In reality, there really is no such difference between high vibrations and low vibrations. They're all vibrations and varying degrees of the same vibrational frequency and energy. It's all how you perceive it. It's all how you look at it. So if I'm able to say, well, yes, my jealousies arose, but at the same time, I'm challenging myself to really confront my jealousy, really confront my issues, then I start to learn to more master myself and take control of the shit that's been affecting me and controlling me by confronting it and learning how to master and overcome how those jealousies affect me. Just because you're in the left-hand path does not mean you're not going to face challenges and deal with shit about yourself that is still there, that you may think you've dealt with, but in certain issues or circumstances arises to make you realize, bro or sis, you got some shit to still work on. All right? So I'll say this to Nikki. If anybody's on the left-hand path and tells you that they're not jealous or have dealt with their jealousy and or it's not right to be jealous is full of shit. As an individual, as a human being, you're going to experience jealousy. It's all in how you deal with it, confront it, and master it. It's not about avoiding anything. It's not about not giving into frequencies. It's about the reality that you are an individual mastering the self, and you have to go through all the vibrations and frequencies of existence. And how are you going to learn to master that unless you experience jealousy? Just because you gave into jealousy does not make you any less or weaker. It means that you still have something to work on. Bingo, pinpoint it, work on it. Don't make an excuse for it. Don't try to ignore it. Don't say I'm weak because I gave into it. You master that. And you learn how to cultivate that part. Learn to overcome it. Learn to be stronger. Nikki, again, my personal life, I do not discuss. But if and when I had a partner, I already said, I would make sure that we are on a level that I would be able to, or she would be able to engage in things of that nature that we would like to. Perfection 933. All right, before that, let me see what. All right. Sal Ray said, I think jealousy is healthy. All of that, it can be healthy and beneficial because it means you're still human. It means you're still dealing with parts of yourself that you think or you thought you confronted or mastered. That means you're still dealing with it and still learning to control it and master it. So let's make no mistakes. Nowhere in any of the questions, um, any form, shape, form, or fashion, understand this. Do not make the mistake that a person on the left-hand path is numb, has no feelings, has no issues. If anything, they have more of those things because they confront it and deal with it on a consistent basis. If they're true and honest to the work that they're doing. Mandy says, speaking from experience, When my husband or I would feel jealous earlier in our relationship, it was because of the work, time, etc. put in a relationship that may be lost by one night of passion. Indeed, that's where most of the jealousy does come from. Tariq says, yes, ego reminds you of something you didn't or don't have in the. Shit. This damn. I think YouTube doesn't like certain things because the chat keeps going blank. And this is like the second or third week this has happened. So forgive me if I can't interact with any questions right now, but my chat just went totally blank. I don't know if y'all experiencing that as well. I can't see if you are or not, but it just went totally blank. So I'm just waiting for that to. Okay, here we go. Now it wants to pop up. All right. So like I was saying, Tarak says, yes, ego remind you of something you didn't have in the past. Somewhere you was incomplete, and the ego reflects it back on you, and you will have to confront it at that moment. Indeed. Now Mandy goes and continues and says, but since then we've learned that that's a part of nature. Once you expect it, it brings you both closer to one positive unit as opposed to negative misunderstanding. Indeed. And Mandy says, all emotions are relevant. Those are the feelings you need to reflect on together, if in a relationship or as a self or for yourself. All right. So Salkis Ray says, I think it's a requirement for me that a man be little mentally unstable when it comes to loving me, meaning I would like for him to be territorial when it comes to our relationship. Indeed, I understand what you're saying, but I'm sure you're also saying that not too territorial because that shit could get crazy. And if a guy gets too territorial, I know what it's like for women to get territorial. I've gone through that shit. And that ain't pretty. I've been stalked before. Woman driving by my house late at night to see what I'm doing. And I'm sitting outside chilling. And I can see their car and they're trying to creep by. And I'm looking like, yeah, I see you. But yeah, I know I feel what you're saying. But yeah, everybody has their likes and wants. Salkis Ray is right on it. She likes a man who's a little territorial. It creates passion for her. That's being real. See, this is what, if you're working on the left hand path or trying to be on the left hand path, whatever, that's being real. That's dealing with all your shit. The shit that makes me laugh is that, all right, I'll say this because we did this a couple weeks ago, where some of us are on the left hand path but still have right hand path ideologies or principles or things that we hold on to. That's fine. But antinomianism, shit, I almost fucked it up again, is about going against the grain, really checking yourself on all those programmings and things like that. Salkis Ray is real. This is what she like. That's real. That's 100. If you could be real like that, then you know what you like, don't like. Your life can become a little less complicated if you're real with yourself. That doesn't mean I have to accept what she's saying or somebody else has to accept it. That just means that's real for you. True indeed. I hear you, Nikki. But here's the thing. Let's say your man, your husband, was an activist or doing some things that you know people ain't gonna eventually like him. And they may get to the point that their jealousy or anger towards this person could become so hardcore that they're going to want to do what? Hurt that person. Now, if they can't find that person, or for whatever reason can get to that person, who's the most likely candidate they're going to try to get to? Yeah, I know that. I'm just saying for overall. I'm just saying overall. The most likely candidate would be the person they love the most. Do you understand? So some of y'all, it's all good. You don't have a problem with that. Other people, you guard what you love the most, right? So if you have somebody and you would love to guard that person for the most, and you know they're out there, meaning they're doing work, and you know it can be controversial and can be making other people angry, you would protect that no matter what. Some of us would protect that to the max, because when they can't hurt you, they're going to hurt with the things you love the most: your mom, your dad, your siblings, your wife, your husband, whatever. They're going to hurt that next if they can't get to you. So let's be real, y'all. In the world we live in today, it is more important, in my opinion, to be more private about your life than public. The world is crazy, and it's only getting crazier because people have not dealt with their issues. So all these things that people have repressed is starting to come to the surface in dramatic and violent ways. So because of that, it would be more wise to protect you and the one you love, or the ones you love, than anything else. A lot of us on the left-hand path have an inner circle. We don't have a lot of friends. We don't have groups that we involve with. If we do have a group, it's a small group, but we have an inner circle, and that's the shit you love and take care of the most. Anybody outside of that circle may be an associate. You look out for them, you may care for them, but it's about that inner circle. I'm just saying, that's a lot of people on the left-hand path. I know that's how they roll. And if you're not in that inner circle, yeah, they may look out for you, care, but you ain't in that inner circle. You ain't gonna know shit about those people that are in that inner circle. You ain't gonna get to them people. You ain't gonna even realize who they are, because it's about protecting and working together to master and elevate. And that's usually a small circle of people do that. It's not about having all these large groups and organizations and all this other shit. Nah, it's about, that's how people on the left-hand path are starting to become. You really protective about your shit. And you should be, because today's world, people are destroying each other left and right. Damn, this damn chat keeps going on and off. Nikki, I'm gonna say, for some people who've been rolling with me for a long time, I don't get heated. I just speak passionately. I'm passionate about what I do. I don't get heated. Y'all really want to? If you ever see me heated, run. I don't get heated. I'm a passionate person, but most of the time, I'm laid back, chilling, laughing, kikiing, ha-ha, joking, playing around, smiling, doing all that. People know that. Some people know me for a minute on this chat. I'm a laid back, real down to earth, chilling kind of dude. But I'm passionate when I teach. That's just me. That's my fire. That's what I love to do. I love to lecture. I've been doing it for so long. It's passionate. So if it seems like I'm getting upset or passionate, or angry about, nah, I don't get angry about nothing. I don't personally know you, so why would I take it to heart? You really, listen, let me ask you this, Nikki, if somebody says something about you and you didn't know two shits about that person or anything else, you really think you would really let that shit affect you? Like, you would really let that bother you? Because I really don't give a damn what anybody thinks. If I don't know you personally and we rolling together like that, I don't give a damn what anybody thinks about me. I don't. I'm not living for you. I'm living for me. I care about what I think, what I do, and what I work on, and the way I'm going. That doesn't mean I don't care about some of y'all. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is I'm a passionate person. Y'all could go back to videos from 4 years ago. I think I started this 2013 or 2014. 5 to 4 years ago. Go back. I was just as passionate back then talking as I am now in these videos. Same thing. That's just me. I like it. I gotta interact with y'all. People be dead sometimes on these things, yo. Like, we supposed to be melanated people, Nubians, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. All of y'all ain't. That's fine. I don't care about that. I'm just saying, some of the ones who are melanated here, we supposed to be passionate, loving, jumping around. But then we get in classes, we get in lectures, and we be all uptight. What kind of shit is that? But in the church, y'all dropping on the floor, twerking in the church and everything. Then we at a lecture and we like, nah. I try to bring that passion, y'all. Keep that shit alive in y'all. We shouldn't be up here like this. Oh my God. No. Be yourself. Y'all should be, some of y'all are dancers. Be dancing when you talking. You know what I'm saying? Be that. Be yourself. I try to be myself, genuine myself all the time. That's just how I roll. I try to be myself all the time. Regardless of what people think, I'm going to be myself. Regardless if they like what I do or not, I'm going to be myself. Trust, the individuals who were here earlier trying to get questions about my personal life, trust, I know who these people are now. And I knew they was coming when they saw the topic. And they just changed the screen name. I know who these people are. I done been around too long to play the games with these people. But guess what? Come at me. It's all good. You want to really discuss it? Why don't you hit me up? You know my personal information. Hit me up. Nah, but see, they like people like that want to put you on blast because their personal ego got hurt or they feel affected. You understand me? Nah, don't play me like that. You know me personally. Let's deal with this personally. That's how I roll. That's the way I do. Listen. I'm not gonna be up here. I'm not gonna be up here acting like I'm some holy roly spiritual type of guy. Those days are past, y'all. I did that shit in the past. Salcus Ray knows that too. I used to be all garbed up in African garb. I had my feathers. I did the whole thing. All the while inside, I was dying, y'all. I was dying because I was trying to fit into somebody else's vision of what I should be or what we should be like. I promised myself years ago after I left all that crap, I'm not going to be that person. I'm going to be myself. Who is myself? I'll tell you who myself is. I'm a Bronx Rican kid raised in the hood, moved to Hartford, lived in the hood, lived in DC, Atlanta, down to Orlando. I love hip hop. I was a breaker. I used to be listen, I was a straight break dancer, as the word some of y'all use, but the real term is b-boy. I was a b-boy back in the days. Okay? Straight, that was my love of my life. After a while in New York, Rooftop, and all these other clubs, hip hop clubs started closing. I was a dancer, so guess what I needed to do was dance. So I started going to house music clubs, deep house music, which is my ish to this day. Hip hop and deep house music will always be my ish, and I'm a house head to the end. I love to dance to house music. Some of y'all know what deep house is. If you love it, you love it. It's a spiritual thing. Like they say, you know it. It's in your blood, it's in your heart. You're dancing. Okay? I love to dance. I love to dress. I like to always have something nice on. I was all in the conscious crap and oh, we shouldn't do this and we should listen. F that. I'm gonna dress. I'm gonna dress like I want, how I want. I take care. I try to groom myself, look nice, work out, do all that. I take pride in being happy and in loving myself and being healthy. I love to, if y'all want to kick it and laugh and go dancing, I'm all for that. Come to Orlando. We could all hang out and dance. That's me. This is just the person you know on the video. So I be this way. But if y'all really want to know, I love to get down, dance, all of that. I love to eat healthy, but I like trying different foods. There's just certain shit I can't try. Like some of that Asian food, I can't try it, man. I, some of that shit. My boy also took me to a restaurant. He know it's an Asian restaurant. Well, basically got to cook. You got to, I had to cook and stuff, all that. It's interesting. Let me say the least. It was interesting. But I love food, so I'm gonna try things. But just, I love to do that. And by the way, if y'all want to see me back in the days, I think it was 1996, 97, go to Born Americans. I'm going to type this in. Born Americans. The name of the song is Yardcore. And try to find me, y'all. Born Americans, Yardcore. And try to find me. All right? Try to find me and see it. That's y'all homework. Y'all want go into Born Americans, that video. And see if you can find me in that video. I think that was 1996, if I'm not mistaken, 96, 97. Yeah, Straight Panther. That was me, son. That was me all the way. So some of y'all seen it. I've been around, y'all. I told y'all I was part of Universal Zulu Nation. Yeah, I was dancing. Not a lot because it was a video, so it was kind of congested in the front. But I was part of Universal Zulu Nation. I was a vice chapter leader in Hartford, Connecticut. All right. My boy was the chapter leader. Peace, God. What are you doing uptown? So, anyways, before that in Hartford, I was living in the Bronx. Lived on Daly Avenue, intersected with Tremont, 7 Daly Ave. Lived in Hartford, but I was a hip hop head. You'll see that video. I was supposed to come out in the Diggable Planets. Some of y'all remember Diggable Planets? Y'all better say yes. Yep, there you go. He already put it in there. 25, timestamp 0.25 on YouTube. Go check it. Yep. All right. I was supposed to come out in the video with Diggable Planets for y'all remember, but it never came out because Diggable Planets shortly broke up right after that. So the record label never put out the video. But yeah, through Universal Zulu Nation, I was real close to Bambaataa. So trust, I know a lot of things about Bambaataa. I just don't choose to talk about it, but I know. Trust me, I know. Okay. And I got to meet a lot of people when I was there, a lot of MCs and things like that. I was friends with Crazy Legs, PK Swift, or Prince Ken Swift from Rocksteady Crew. I did a lot of stuff, y'all. I'm sharing with y'all now because I'm gonna make it a little more personal because I normally don't share, so I'm just sharing things with y'all so you know. But that was that. I was all into the hip hop, the house music scene. Yeah, my brother Dan knows. I know my brother Dan from DC, all the way from DC, y'all. I was breaking back then in DC. I was listen when breaking died out in the in the early '80s, mid '80s, in the late '90s. I mean, not late '90s, early '90s. A lot of us resurrected that, but it was Rocksteady Crew who helped resurrect it back because that is one of the original elements of hip hop. And in Hartford, I helped resurrect that, activated a crew called Wild Style B-Boys. We helped bring it back to life in Hartford. When I came down to DC, I was at Howard University. Yes, I went to Howard University. And when I was at Howard University, we had a breaking crew down there called Natural Elements, and we performed at Howard University's homecomings for like 3 years. All right, Nikki, peace. So I did that too. And we used to perform all the time in DC, do all those things. So I share that, let you know, just because you want some spiritual shit, be real, y'all. You know, people get all spiritual and all uptight. Like you ain't real no more. Like you just gotta put all that shit away. If you a dancer, dance. If you a singer, sing. If you a rapper, rap or MC. If you a DJ, please bring it back. Bring back that DJing. Please bring the vinyl back. Please. I hate this modern day DJ shit. Anybody can DJ. Back then, you really had to have talent to DJ to be able to take 2 records and find the break of the record and go back and forth cutting it, scratching it. That's talent, y'all. Nowadays, anybody can go on there, everything's digitized. It's not the same shit. All right. So I was all into that. I was a DJ and a B-boy. I was a breaker. I'm a I'm a I'm a sport fanatic. I love my Yankees. Like I said, I was born and raised in the Bronx and Hartford. I'm a New York Yankee fan since I was a little kid and will be to today. Matter of fact, I'm going to the Yankee game in Tampa this week. All right. I love my Knicks. Yes, the Knicks suck. I don't want to hear it. They suck, but they're about to get good. They're getting some good kids in this draft. I'm a Knicks fan for life. I'm a New York Giant fan for football. That's my ish. I'm a sport fan. As y'all know, or you may not know, I'm Puerto Rican. I'm proud of my African ancestry, my Taino ancestry, not so much of the Spaniard ancestry. Them fuckers were rapists and oppressive. But I had to embrace that shit too, because they did it. It's still in my blood, so I had to address that and accept that part in myself. Doesn't mean I gotta like the shit. I just accepted it. So I'm all into and understand my African traditions. My grandma was a santera. I was from Daly Avenue, bro. Daly intersecting with Tremont. True indeed. True indeed. So I'll say this. I did all that sport fan. I used to play baseball, all that stuff. I'm human, y'all. I'm real just like y'all. The only difference is I learned by suppressing a lot of that shit, trying to be in organizations and super conscious and all this shit. I learned that was the worst mistake I made in my life. It was suppressing that part of myself I love, which was dancing and hip hop and house and being creative like that. All to fit into some neat description of what it is to be this or that. Don't do it, y'all. Just because you on the left hand path or on the right hand path or spiritual, be yourself. Don't let that stuff die, and don't let anybody tell you that you less black, less this, less conscious because you like some mundane shit. Yo, Uptown, yeah, Hartford was real wild. When I was there, living in Hartford at that time, We had the Latin Kings, we had the Solitos, and we had the 20 Love. That was three major gangs back then, and that shit was wildin', son. Straight wildin'. Before that, we had the Park Street Posse and the Albany Ave. And the Albany Avenue Posse. That was the two main back then. But anyway, let's go on there. But just sharing this with y'all. All right? Don't let go of who you are and what you are. And it will make your relationships healthier. It will make your life healthier if you still maintain who you are and what you are, the parts of yourself that you really are passionate about, that you love. Be that. Fuck the conscious shit. Fuck all this, pro-black, pro-Latino, all this shit. That's extreme shit. Fuck it. You can still be black and on a left-hand path and not have to be to the extreme. Okay? You don't got to be all about the color issues and the colorism and the racism. You can still be you, still be passionate about the shit you like, the hobbies you love, and still be growing by leaps and bounds through your spiritual work. You can still be that. Don't let anybody take that away from you, ever take that away from you. So, any last questions before I get up out of here? I'm gonna take like three more questions. Oh, if you want to know what my granny is, yeah, I'm in Florida, Debbie Davis. My granny is a black Puerto Rican. That's where my African side comes from. My daddy is black and Taino mostly. My other granny is Taina with Spaniard and some African in her. But yeah, that's my two grannies. One was more Taina with some African. The other one was mostly African. I live in Orlando, by the way, for all those who want to know what part of Florida I live in. Orlando. Well, Straight Panther, I'm gonna say this. I done seen spirits, I done seen orbs and some other shit. I seen a lot of stuff while dancing, especially all those who are dancers know when there's a certain point you reach the zone or a climax state. Okay, let me spell it for you. But when you reach that climax state and you hit that zone, that DJ really popping that music, or the drummer really hitting it, you get into that ecstatic state. It opens up spiritual vortexes. You see spirits or be ridden on the back by a spirit. Taino is the indigenous tribe of Puerto Rico, and as well as Dominican Republic, Bahamas, and Haiti, and parts of Cuba. Was the indigenous tribe of Puerto Rico in those areas. That's the Taino. Perfection 933. What if you can't find love? You can't stay interested. Honestly, that happens quite often. You just may not have met the person that really sparks something in you to grow and learn and get connected with that person where love can be sparked and come out of you. You might have gone through certain things in your early childhood where what your examples of love was really disconnected. You understand? So that may be difficult for you to find love later in life because what you saw, the example of love, was really disconnected or violent or things like that. So that's why it can be difficult to find love, as well as sometimes people don't get to know you. One, because they themselves don't know themselves, so it's hard for them to get to know you. Or two, you may not have the energy that people feel that they can ask you questions to get to know you. I'm gonna say that. Also, for y'all who are curious, if you want to know the African tribes I have, because I did my DNA before, I have a Khan, which is from Ghana. I have Benin Togo, the Benin Togo area, okay, which used to be called the Homie. And I have Mabuti tribe from the Congo, also known as Mabutu. They have different ways to say it, but that's the tribe I come from the Congo. I did my DNA, so I'm familiar with that. Then, of course, I have Spaniard, and through the Spaniard, I have the Moorish ancestry bloodline, which also showed up in my DNA. So I have the Moorish bloodline. I have Arab bloodline through that too. That's why I look the way I do, y'all. I got all kinds of ish in me. Anyway, all right. Debbie Davis, my boy is in Tampa, and we're going to actually try to have a lecture in Tampa sometime in the near future. So I'm going to put my email here, and I'll let you, and just email me. I'll let you know when we get the lecture set up in the Tampa area, that you could come out and check it out. So yeah, I have all this ancestry bloodline in me. And certain times, certain parts, certain spirits, when I do certain rituals, will come out. Like, I'll give you an example. I could be chilling. I can tell you this. I have 4 major spirits, and I did this through when I was in Santeria, through my madrina, and through Misas, we found out certain things. I have 4 major spirits. 2 of them are Congo spirits. Okay? One was a female Congo sorceress, and one was a Congo warrior. That's the dominating part of me. If you all want to know why I be passionate when I talk, that's the warrior side coming out. Those 2 are the most dominating spirits I have. I have an ancient Egyptian spirit that was in the Temple of Min. Yeah, go figure. And then I had a black Arab spirit who was a mystic, was into Sufi also, but did certain black magic aspects within it too. Those are my 4 major spirits. However, according to some of the spiritual work I did when I was in Santeria, Lukumi, things like that, I have more spirits than that will in time make themselves known, but majority of them are Congo spirits. So I am dominant Congo spirits. All right. You can use Ancestry DNA, which is through Ancestry.com. I think they had a special for $59. But if you really want to find out your tribes, go through AfricanAncestry.com. But that's expensive. That's like $2.99. All right. That is a little expensive. If, I'm just saying, for a DNA test, it's like really expensive. Nowadays, you get a DNA test for $59.99. So, anyways, you could use any one of those, but Ancestry DNA through Ancestry.com breaks all of it down. It won't tell you the exact tribe, but they'll tell you the regions in Africa you come from. Then through research, you can find out yourself what tribe you actually come from. Okay, but that's a really good one. 23andMe is a good one as well. So that helps. Now, Debbie Davis, there is ways to find out your past lives. A lot of that, you can do a past life regression, which is hypnosis, but that's not always good because sometimes it can be a little traumatic what comes out of you. Or you can do it, through certain spiritual mediums or guides that'll help find it for you. All I can say is be ready, because shit that come out, you might not like all the time. We think we're gonna like it, but sometimes you might have to crazy psycho in your bloodline, or you were a crazy psycho in a past life. You just don't know. But I'm just sharing that with y'all. That's my ancestry. That's the spirits I work with. So this is why I be passionate when I talk. This is why I got that warrior mentality. Anybody who really knows me knows I'm cool, down to earth, but at the same time, I don't play. But that's because of that the ancestry. And I know, because I know when it comes out, I can feel it coming out of me. I can feel when the warrior side is coming out. What you tend to learn doing magical work is when and how to feed these spirits when they start coming forth and trying to dominate you. You find out what they like or the different things, and you feed them accordingly so that you stay in control. Because the goal is to always stay in control, be the master of yourself. Some of these spirits can be very dominating and try to take control over you. You want to be careful with that because you can lose yourself and the spirit can possess and dominate you to the point that you have no control. Okay? But as long as you always remember you are the God and you've done the work to be the God over yourself, you'll always will remain in control. But understand your different aspects, understand your different DNA. Well, what I mean by feeding is this. All right, so let me say this. Like the sister was stating earlier, that what about if you find out that you were in a temple of, let's say, Hathor, Temple of Heteru, and you find out that you were a sexual goddess in that temple? Then you wonder why sometimes you get this superior urge of sexuality, of sex consuming you to the point that you feel like you're crawling up the walls. It's not a coincidence that's happening. It's because that spirit is wanting to be fed sometimes. You have to know how to feed it. So what I mean by that is masturbate if you have to. Sensually touch yourself if you have to. If you have a partner, get wild, freaky, whatever you got to do. That's feeding the spirit. But that doesn't mean every time the spirit comes up asking for something, you feed it. You have to stay in control. So you have to basically say, "Not sorry, I'm not feeding you till I get this work accomplished, or I send you on a mission to get certain work accomplished for me." All right, Straight Panther, that's a good thing. Um, yeah. As a matter of fact, let me put that in my note. The next live lecture or stream is going to be working with your spirits, or wait, working with your spirit and spirit guides. Some shit like that. I'll try to make it creative, Straight Panther, all right? Let me just log it down so I don't forget. Because I make sure I put all these titles down that y'all suggest, and then I go from here. Now, let me do this. Title. Give me a second. Title of class. Spirit guides. All right. All right, it's in there. So we'll do that next week, Spirit guides. All right, let me see these other questions. So I hope you understand what I mean by feeding, Salkis. That's what I mean. Sometimes you may not even like pizza, let's say, but you have a strong craving for pizza all of a sudden. But you don't like it. You can't stand it. But all of a sudden, I'm gonna answer these next couple questions. Let me finish this. But all of a sudden, you you get hunger for pizza. You might just have to eat a slice so you can calm that spirit down. All right. All right. Let me see this question then. All right, so okay, one question is the idea of considering the sexual partner as an enemy who must defeat. This can bring inside. Let me try to understand that. Should you okay? What you're asking is, are you asking is should you look at or if you look at a certain sexual partner as an enemy whom you must defeat, can you bring this inside of yourself? Yes, you can. You'll digest all of that inside you, and it can affect you. Okay, then. Old Soul says, how does one deal with childhood trauma? Okay, first of all, it depends on the trauma from your childhood. The first thing I can do is pinpoint the trauma. What exactly is the trauma that you experienced? Second, once you pinpoint the trauma that you experienced, write down how it has or is affecting you presently or from the past to the present. Meaning, let's say daddy ignored your ass when you needed him the most. This led you to be an attention whore the rest of your life or most of your life. Just because your daddy ignored you at that very critical stage in your early childhood development when you needed his attention the most, but he was too busy watching the Giants on Monday Night Football, you developed a issue of wanting and desiring attention. So what happens is we go to the extreme sometimes to get attention. We become attention whores sometimes to the max that will do absurd things just to get attention. These are some people that do extreme things like, you know, they can never keep their hair alone. They do extreme hairstyles, dye their hair in many different ways. I'm saying it's all good. If that's what you like, that's what you like. But sometimes people do it because they're seeking attention from people because they never got it when they wanted it the most as a child. So then once you pinpoint what the trauma was or the issue was, then you start to pinpoint it. I'm saying log, write this, whatever you have to, how it's affected you since that moment in time. If you can go back to that moment when it first started, how has it affected you? If you can pinpoint how it's affected you, then you can do rituals to try to open up that part of yourself that has been affecting you so that you can learn to confront it and learn to control it and eventually turn that into a strength instead of a weakness. So, for example, you could do a ritual of destruction, let's say. Better yet, you could do a ritual with Hensu, a ritual to devour. Devour the negative aspects of yourself that have been consuming you and affecting you the most. So you would create a ritual around Hensu. Some say Hansu, whatever, which is the natir of the moon in ancient Kemet, but originally was known. Okay, so you have to be able to pinpoint that and ask yourself hard hitting questions like, how has this affected me and why does it continue to control me? Once you do that, you do the ritual with Hansu, and you'll start to see that you're devouring parts of yourself that are negative or have been feeding into this attention of horror. I mean, horrorism of attention. You start to figure it out through the ritual. It'll start to come to the surface. That's what I would recommend to find out and deal with childhood trauma or issues. Then you're starting to do some shadow work. That's some serious shadow work right there. Okay? That's some shadow work right there for your ass, because pinpointing is the first battle and is the first and most important part. Once that's discovered, then the second part is how it's affecting you. And the third part is going into it to confront it so you can have some level of control over it to then master it. Well, Debbie, I can understand that because my granny practiced Santeria and Sansi, which is Puerto Rican voodoo, which came from the 21 divisions of the Dominican Republic, which came from Vodun or Voude of Haiti. And I used to be around her. And being around her, I started learning certain things of Santeria. She would help. She would have me help her snap the head of the chicken for certain rituals. Okay, she would show me how to prepare the food for the orisha, things of that nature. So that stood with me since I was a little kid. On my own, as I got older, I went in the path of getting initiated in Lukumi Santeria. Okay, but I saw and learned things from when I was young. And I remember in Sansi, because she was in the Puerto Rican voodoo, she was well connected to the Gede. It's in there. And Baun Samedi, as the Haitians say, or Baron Samedi in Spanish, was one of her um, paths that she worked with. Years later, I found myself attracted. I found myself attracted to that, and working with Baum 70 years later, even while I'm on this left hand path, because the Gede, all the Gede, basically are more left hand path archetypes than what people realize, because they're basically anti society norms. This is why they do extreme things to break people's conditioning when they ride the back or mount the back. Okay. So I feel you on that, Debbie. Explore it, find out about it, but don't be consumed by it. By that, I mean this: don't get religiousized by it and become a practitioner who's now under a religion again. Because trust me, Voodoo is just as religious as Christianity or anything else. It is used to control people. It's about doing this the way the Hogan or the Mambo wants, and it's always going to them. It's just like Santeria. You go to the Babalao or the Santero, Santera, Madrina, Padrino. You can practice it, but do it from the point that you're learning to use the archetypes to master self. Yes, certain elements, move the god of Gnosticism, does fall on the left hand path. As a matter of fact, many people on the left hand path study Gnosticism, because one of the original precepts of Gnosticism was that you are God. Not in that sense the way we're saying it today, but it was a sense that you are God in the person. So Gnosticism is studied a lot on the left hand path and would be something good to study. So yes, definitely look into Gnosticism and study it. Actually, I think Salka Spray, I did one. No, I think I did a video about a month and a half ago on shadow work. I don't think it was a live video. I can possibly do that after next week's spirit guide. Let me write that down, by the way. So I could do spirit guides next week and then a live lecture on shadow work. All right. Might have been live, but I'll do it again. It don't problem because that's something that we always should go over and discuss. So, all right, y'all. Y'all done spent my energy. I'm tapped out. I'm about to go sit down, watch the Yankees, and chill the F out. So I'll see y'all next week, Friday, 7 p.m. Spread the word. Let people know. Next week's lecture is going to be on spirit guides or working with the spirits and spirit guides. And then the following week, it'll be shadow work. Friday at 7 o'clock. So y'all can get your knowledge on before you go get your groove on. That's why I did it Friday at 7, not later. Okay? Y'all can get your knowledge on and you get your groove on. The groove can wait. Then we get the knowledge on and you can get the groove on all night feeling all hyped up. You see what I'm saying? Good. So I appreciate y'all coming in. Spread the word, let people know, and we'll go from there. And even the tricksters that were in here earlier that tried to trick me, I love them too. It's all good. It's all part of life. All right? Peace.